Welcome everyone to Wrestling is Cool. Yeah, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. Oh, I mean, you're either the little kid from the Wild Thornberries or you're Tamatanga. Welcome to Wrestling is Cool, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. We don't typically start episodes like that, but I mean, the Tamatanga meme is getting too good. I'm just coming back from vacation. Sancho, you've been carrying things on Patreon, so thank you very much for taking care of that. How's your week been, brother?
Great, man. There's some great things that is happening in the Wrestling is Cool Patreon and around the world. Organized a couple things. I felt like I was like your dad. I walked into your house. I was like, what is this? There's dishes everywhere. I had to go in there and clean house. So I made some collections, and dude, it's really cool as a content creator to be able to make content for an audience that wants it. You know what I mean? Without dealing with algorithms. That's the only crazy thing about being a content creator in these day and ages is like you could make great content, but sometimes the algorithm doesn't see it. But the beauty part of what we do is that there's people out there like you. And hey, this is not a show for Patreon. We love to show Patreon here. This is just more of like, it gets me excited when I could think about something that I know good people are going to watch it. Like the eyes will be appreciative of the content I make.
Yeah, just I guess to remove the curtain from the content creation world. Sometimes, like for those that watch me on YouTube, I'm afraid to do new things because I'm afraid that the YouTube algorithm gods will go, whoa, only 3% of people clicked on it? Now we're gonna doom your entire career to the doldrums of the YouTube algorithm. Good luck, bud. Get out. It's over. Get back to the workforce, you bum. And that's the beauty of Patreon, because the people that are there want to watch even the weird crap that we might come up with.
For sure. And at the same time, there's always, they say that YouTube uploads at least 7 years worth of content daily. Now that was like 6-7 years ago. I'm sure it's more, but that's not who you're afraid of. There's one man that haunts you daily. He's in your bowl of rice. He's in your bowl of cereal. You're taking a shower. He's right there in your mirror. And then you think you see him and he's gone. That's the one and only Dijak Ratio right around the corner, baby.
Dude, I can't post anything. I cannot post anything without the danger of Dijak appearing. And here's the thing. Sometimes I'll post something where I'm baiting a Dijak response. I want the Dijak response. But then I could post on Twitter, happy birthday to my mom. And then the replies will be, Dijak's gonna get you. Everyone's adding and sending it to Dijak. So now I don't know where the line begins. I don't know where the line in the sand is. What is fair game for Dijak to use? Because it seems like everything is fair game. The man is harassing me using ugly photos of me and uploading them to his own Instagram. Dude, this man is pulling out amazing YouTube shitpost edits of me as Homer Simpson and him appearing on TV ratioing me. He's video ratioing me. He's ratioing me at Super Nintendo World. He's ratioing me at the magical...
It's a me ratio.
Yeah, it's a me ratio. He's ratioing me at Hogwarts World. What did he say? Abracadabra ratio? This man is everywhere. This Dijak feud is not even really a feud. It's just me taking a beating.
Oh, yeah. Did you look like that jobber that Braun Breaker destroyed on Monday Night Raw? That's you right there. Oh. Good old Kale Dixon.
Kale Dixon.
We'll remember you, sir, forever.
You know what's funny? Because for those that don't know, I was in Los Angeles for a work-related vacation little thing that I was doing. NDA embargoed. We'll talk about it soon, folks. Ooh, yeah. But when I logged onto Twitter and when I was getting into, okay, let me rewatch or everything that I missed here with King of the Ring.
Let me watch Sancho West clip reactions, right?
Of course, yeah, to catch up. But the first thing that the conversation I saw wasn't about King of the Ring. It wasn't about Io. It wasn't about Lyra. It was about this Kale dude. So last time that I saw a jobber get this much buzz and conversation was the Chinless Wonder. I'm trying to remember his name. Ellsworth was James Ellsworth. I don't think this is the last time that we see Kale, because
dude,
it was too meme worthy, and it has to happen another time. So it has to happen again.
No, dude, that dude's dead. I don't care. Kayfabe or not, that guy's gone. I've never seen. First off, let's talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker, the idea of Braun Breaker refusing a squash match and feeling disrespected by Adam Pearce and taking that moment and looking towards the hard camera or the side of the hard camera and just saying like, I'm tired of this, and just literally obliterating Kale Dixon and not pinning, which is a very heel thing to do, not to take the easy pin. And it was funny because, while you were absent, everybody rejoiced. It was like, the ending of Return of the Jedi. The Empire is gone. Santi is falling. The other minions we could rise. And so I had some of your great people over on my watch party. It's the biggest watch party we ever had. It was great. And then we were sitting there like, I put, all right, over and under, how long this squash match is going to last, 2 minutes or more. And everybody in the chat was freaking out when he wasn't taking that pin. And they're like, please, pin this man. But so, yeah, dude, I've never, ever seen Braun Breaker. I've seen him in NXT, like every now and then on the timeline, right? This dude do something crazy. But to see him on the main roster where his acceleration in a short amount of distance is insane.
Dude, his speed is actually insane. I think that's the best way to put it. And as somebody that's been a big fan of Braun Breaker, that's also been disappointed in terms of how they've been using him up to now, I like that they are, in a way, acknowledging that they are misusing him, but using it into a storyline so that it doesn't feel like this awkward start, stop, restart, where now all of a sudden Braun Breaker goes from these squash matches to being in a main event caliber scene. So I appreciate that actually a lot from the WWE and the narrative that they're telling, that this is now a beast that is too big to contain in the undercard. And whether they want it or not, as they have clearly tried to keep him in the undercard to protect him by keeping him out of the King of the Ring, he's too strong, too powerful to contain, and somebody like Adam Pearce has no chance of being able to bottle up the energy and the intensity that is Braun Breaker. So shout out to the WWE, for I do think that this was a situation where you took lemons and you made lemonade.
Well, the problem is like they brought Braun over to Raw during King of the Ring. There's like nothing for him to do. I was thinking like this time of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, sure, the singles matches have been awesome for that King and Queen of the Ring, but everything else on the outside of that is bad. Like it has no stickiness to it, and it makes you go, I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I want to get back to the King and Queen of the Ring because that stuff is awesome. And I felt that, especially in the main event of Gunther versus Jay, that not having enough time to cook really hurt that main event more so than anything. And it was interesting, like, for while you were gone, for the first time, I always tend to try to have like a very clean objective of where my point of view. And so when I did the Raw review, I said my piece, and then I started looking around the internet, and I was like, well, I do see where people's perspectives where they could see the aura of Jay and they could see how they protected both Jay and Gunther. I know we were on Braun for a second, but I just still don't. It's not clicking with me, and and that's okay, right? That's okay. Jay Uso is not clicking with me. The way that finish is not clicking with me, but I'm not for one going to be like mad if Jay beat Gunther clean, because again, my problem was Iliad was being beaten clean, but. It's just so interesting to me, like when you try to watch things critically versus just enjoying it casually, you tend to miss things. So going back to Braun, when you're just taking this dude as just a casual fan, where you're just seeing this force of nature just obliterating guys, you kind of go like, man, this is exciting. This guy's dangerous. I'm interested to see versus like, how is he being booked?
Yes.
When you look at it critically like that, sometimes that's when wrestling could be. When you start pulling at threads of wrestling, at logic and all those other and how they're booked, it's the things where kind of get messy for, like, I guess, lack of a word, pundits or people like us.
I want to talk more about Braun Breaker, but I have a quick game. Sancho, can you guess who I am? Can you guess who I am? They buried Ilya Dragunov. Oh my god, they ruined Ilya Dragunov. I cannot believe he lost clean to Jay Uso. Ilya Dragunov's career is done. Sancho, who was I?
Okay, you go to LA and all of a sudden you got two massive huevos. Okay. The testicular fortitude. I see you got was it Mario Kart shirt on from the Nintendo Land? Look
Yes,
at you.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going fast, baby. Mushroom.
Yeah. All right, let's play this game. Who am I? All right, ready? You
Oh,
ready?
God. Don't do Solo Sokoa. Don't do...
You ready?
What are you doing?
Ready? You ready? Ratio. Oh, ratio.
Oh, my God.
Oh. Dijak. Ratio.
Oh, he's a Dragunov.
Is this what we're boiled down to? We're just insulting each other the entire time. You know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that my impression has just boiled down to Ilya Dragunov and not the one and only LA Knight, which we will save in the chamber. I know there's people out there, the Sancho maniacs, waiting for the LA Knight glaze. That's why they come to the show for the Wrestling is Cool. And sure, you got plenty of people out there like, Sancho's on the show, I'm out. Well, this is the Wrestling is Cool podcast, baby. We're growing.
I do have
you're on the train or you're not on the train.
I do have a genuine question for you, because last week, Sancho is like the backbone of the Wrestling is Cool community in that he is reading the comments, replying.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw that there were a lot of people that were not agreeing with you when it came to the Ilya Dragunov situation, and that's why I'm doing the whole little baby Sancho bit. I'm very curious, like, when you're a wrestling content creator, when you're somebody that puts out an opinion out there, when you see it being so different from what the masses are thinking, how does that impact you? Does it at all, or do you entrench yourself more in these opinions? I'm just really curious how your brain works.
No, that's a great question, and that definitely goes to what I was talking about a second ago. You know, I had that opinion about Gunther or Jay wasn't that great of a match, and then you see a good chunk of the internet have a different opinion. You question yourself. You know, when it comes to I have a lot of experience in the video game world. It's the same kind of thing, right? Everyone has a variety of opinions, and you could always be on the minority of things. And I think the best way to do it, as long as you're respectful, like as me as a content creator, as long as you're respectful to me as a person, and you could hate on my opinion, that is fine. But the minute that you cross the line and you don't listen to my opinion, and oftentimes most comments, not necessarily this community, but most comments, when it comes to critiquing someone's opinion, they tend to tune out the second half of what you say. They listen to the first half where you could say, I don't like Jay Uso, but they don't listen to the second half of me saying, I like him better when he was this, or when he was doing that, or when he leans more into this, it's better for me type of thing. So to answer your question, do you entrench yourself? I mean, I think you have to. It's not necessarily like I'm open to change and I'm open to see what their point of view is, but I'm still going to stick to my opinion because that's how I felt in that moment. In the moment where Ilya Dragunov, who was being built up as the Mad Dragon, where the man cut a vignette saying that he believes in pain and he loves pain, when he doesn't get that chance to show that he likes pain and he gets pinned cleanly, that's where there's a disconnect for me in that presentation, especially when he was being built up as this guy who could take out Gunther. And that's just from the 3 weeks that I've seen him on the main roster. On the flip side, Santi, when you have someone like Jade Cargill, right? Same kind of thing, built up to be the superstar, superwoman, Nia Jax. There's a problem here, right? What are they going to do? Nia Jax, just newly signed to the Smackdown roster, drafted to the Smackdown roster. How is she going to beat Jade Cargill? How is Jade Cargill going to take a pin? So what do? They do the pro wrestling way and protect both of them. Now, you didn't like that. So I'm going to turn this question to you.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about that?
I thought it was just too lazy, and I just believe that maybe that there were better ways to still salvage things here while still being able to build the other things that they're building towards, which is eventually Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I feel like they could have done something with that with Bianca Belair, with Jade Cargill, with Tiffany Stratton, who had just lost. We could have seen like some frustration coming out with Tiffany Stratton coming out to take out the Jade Cargill, take out the partner, Bianca Belair, etc. I feel like they just took the first option that was available to them, and I do think that it was a safe choice. It doesn't hurt anything. I just think it was lazy. When I think we're in an era where they've demonstrated that when they don't want to be lazy, they can tell some amazing stories and narratives.
So just to go back to, do you have, before I reply to you, do you have any questions about the wrestling content creator and things of that sort of follow up? Because I kind of cut that off.
No. I was just really curious because when I'm providing, like my thoughts and opinions, like 99.9% of the time, I find myself aligned with the majority of fans. Right. I very rarely tend to have a counter opinion from the masses. Right. So when I saw it with you and I saw it in the comments, I was just really curious what that dynamic becomes like, because I haven't had to deal with it too much.
No, I mean, like, again, I don't take it personally, and if people do dive into that, I just try to find a way to win people over, because I know that they're coming from a good place, but they're fighting for their boy. That's what's cool about wrestling, is that you do form these relationships with the wrestler because either they inspire you, or you think they're awesome, or you fall in love with their aura, so to speak. And I could see why Jade does that for some people, but I think what people need to understand is, like, it's not that for everybody. Even people out there hated Hulk when he was in his prime. People out there hated John Cena when he was in his prime. No one hates LA Knight, though, so that's really good for me, and I really do appreciate that. LA Knight is by far one of the best superstars out there, revered, beloved by at least by 110% people. You know what that means, Santi? Even the dead like LA Knight. That's how great he is. It's that 10% of the dead that love that guy. But going back to that Jade Cargill, I disagree with you, homie. Okay. And I think that's what I like about the what we have, our dynamic, is that we're not always on that same wavelength. Jade Cargill and Nia, I thought it was a perfect example. Yeah, it was cheesy pro wrestling, because that is a pro wrestling finish where logically, why would Jade hit Nia with a chair in front of the ref? Why would they have a 30-minute count out, what it felt like? And you could really just counter the fact that, one, Jade's green, or rookie, if you want to spin it that way, and that she got overwhelmed with emotion because her daughter was on ringside. The thing that
your really mom sucks.
Oh, you yell at my daughter. I think what hurt that is just that they're both prospective superstars are still really green at pulling something off clean, like executing that idea. I mean, Nia botched it and hit Jade right in the head with the chair, for crying out loud. But no, I just think, like, when it comes to executing something that nuanced, you got to get the details right. And that's when my criticism of that, like, I could go, oh, okay, I could see what you're doing, and the overall goal was to protect both ladies and both superstars, and you accomplished that, and you saved two major matches. You saved Nia versus Jade at a PLE, and you saved Bianca Belair versus Jade, which is a W. So just to flip it back over to Ilya and Jay, people in those comments were confused because they're like, no, we don't need Ilya and Gunther now at a King of the Ring. I was like, that's not what my thing is. You could still have Jay beat Ilya, but have him eat another spear, for crying out loud, or have him, like, stand up and be like, give it to me, Jay. Like, hit me again. Like, let me really believe this dude's the Mad Dragon. Like, that's what I wanted to see.
Interesting. But yeah, so I still feel like there's a bit of a disconnect between you being okay with how things ended with I guess not okay with how things ended with Ilya Dragunov, and okay with how things ended with Jade Cargill. I just feel like they're both in certain ways they're both kind of similar. I get it, like they're different, like they were they're trying to do different things, but to me it's like also taking the very easiest approach.
Let's peel off this onion a little bit, because we're adding, because it's surface level, and names really don't matter. At the end of the day, it's the notion of 50-50 booking, and it's the notion of protecting pushes and protecting wrestlers, pushes, nerfing, bearing, all that kind of stuff, right? Balancing everything out and making sure everything is in sync. So, because throughout this entire King and Queen of the Ring, they've put themselves in a variety of issues that they had to solve, because it was like, okay, we could have these great superstars fill out our weekly programming to go into this PLE at Saudi, but how can we protect them in their ranking? So they new heat order. How can we protect them in their ranking, in their place? Because we can't have Ilya go up against Jay, and as you can see, it causes a problem. We can't have Nia, or we can't have Jade goes versus Bianca. We can't have two faces going against each other at the end of the day. We can't have two heels at the final. So my question to you is, in today's modern booking, do you find it when is it okay to do that pro wrestling finish where you have a ref bump, where you have a, where Gunther gets speared into the ref, Jay covers Gunther, Jay beats Gunther again, and cleanly, so to speak, but no, the ref was down, and then Gunther ends up beating Jay by choking him out. So like, what do you think about all that kind of modern booking?
I think it's best used when you put yourself in a corner. And
really?
And I do think that the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament, by nature, as how you said, we can't have these two people face off against each other. We can't have the two baby faces be in the final. We can't have two heels. We have to end and finish the tournament at a logical endpoint. And if we need to finish the tournament at a logical endpoint, sometimes it's okay, or I guess not necessarily okay, but understandable to do illogical things along the way, so long as we can still get to the logical endpoint, which is a babyface versus a heel in the tournament. Because I do think that the Jade Cargill and Nia Jax finish is illogical. But I get the end goal. I understand where they're going, because I do think that the end goal is logical. I'm just saying that you can still make these illogical, irrational decisions or booking, I guess, branches, and make them interesting and make them feel a bit more logical, as opposed to just doing the wrestling finish, which is warranted, makes sense in those situations, again, because we're trying to get to the logical endpoint. When we look at Jay losing the way that he did, where's the logical endpoint? We needed Gunther as a heel. That's Tamatanga. We know wasn't going to win this. We know that it was going to be Randy Orton on the other side. So we know that the logical endpoint needed to be Gunther, while also protecting Jay Uso for a Clash of the Castle matchup against Damian Priest, whatever it might be. So then that's where the classic wrestling finish makes sense, as much as I'd like to see the classic wrestling finish evolve more into something better than just, I've seen this a million times.
Right. Well, because that was my fear when I was watching Gunther versus Jay. They were making Jay sell. I watched 1-for-1. The Intercontinental match was so much better, but they were making Jay sell one arm, and I was like, dude, are they gonna have Jay beat Gunther one arm? Because that's what it was in the back of my mind, and I was hoping that that wasn't gonna happen. And I see what you mean. Like, there is a lot of illogical things that happen in this tournament. One, it started off illogically with Drew McIntyre not wrestling, and then Jay Uso just coming in and taking his spot, right? So already we're off the shenanigans. Let me put a pause on Jay and Gunther, because I think we're going to come back to that eventually, naturally. Let's flip it going to Lyra and Io Sky, which is something that surprised me.
I think so
it surprised
shocked.
Like 99% of the people out there. And this is where you can't just make generalizations about booking, because you can't say that Io was buried by Lyra. You know what I mean? Because if I was trying to unravel this, Io didn't lose to a Nightwing. She lost to a technical.
She got outsmarted.
Right.
That's
right.
Kind of like how when Naomi was out-dueled and out-pinned by Bayley, that in itself protects Naomi. And I do think that Io Sky is protected. I still think it's a weird choice.
Really?
I do, yeah.
Let's unpack that.
Yeah, I think it's a weird choice to have Lyra Valkyria go into a Saudi show. A show that is already traditionally very lukewarm on women's matches. and now you want the Saudi crowd to get excited over a relative unknown. I know Lyra Valkyria. The hardcore knows Lyra Valkyria because she's just coming up from NXT. But now I think that we're asking too much of a crowd that already doesn't show too much interest in women's wrestling to try and get behind the babyface that is brand new to this world of professional wrestling. When I think you could have ran a banger rematch of Io versus Bianca Belair again, just like they did at Backlash and at Crown Jewel. I think you could have ran that again there, and it would have been names that you recognize, names that the Saudi crowd could start to get behind in terms of women's wrestling. But now that you've got Lyra Valkyria in this position, now it's Nia Jax. And this is where we start talking about, like, when do we, like, now we got to get to a logical endpoint. And now that, you know, I understand where they're going with things, now I can see behind the curtain, that's why they're doing the Bianca Belair knee injury. Because now they need an easy out for her to still look strong in a loss to Nia Jax here. Because I thought the knee injury was going to be to protect her at a loss to Io Sky at Queen of the Ring. I just think it's a bit bizarre also when I start to look at, you know, I've been joking about how terrible of a manager Adam Pearce is. When now you have a women's NXT rookie going all the way through to the final, and you thought that Braun Breaker was going to drown? Are you kidding me? So, like, again, that's just me looking at the illogical in the world of professional wrestling as a fan that maybe overanalyzes things.
Well, it just shows you once again, like, once you strip things away like an onion, Shrek, when you start going all the way further, deeper, at the core base problem of booking, I do believe is the brand split. Just, I know it's great for the wrestlers, but imagine them not worrying about who's on the SmackDown side, who's on the Raw side, and creating a bracket that could erase those illogical meetup. Like, having Jade at one end and having Bianca at one end could have solved some things, but instead they were put in so close on the same bracket because of the SmackDown.
Yeah, and it forced their hand too quickly. And when you're when your hand is forced that quickly, it's too difficult to come up with creative, logical ways to get out of it. So you have to find the uncreative, logical way to get out of it.
Do you feel that the problem with the Saudi shows is that it is so heavy on names? Like, you need to have names at the Saudi shows?
I think the problem with the Saudi shows is that it's canon but not canon, in the sense that you still need to have big matches that you need to have big matches to sell that show, regardless of whether it's Crown Jewel or King of the Ring. And then the narrative of WWE television for the month leading into it has to make sense and has to feel canon, even though the end result at the end of that Saudi show, it could have not happened. It could have been an email. Because look, they're gonna build up Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. This is great. They have to spend the time to build it up. But in my mind, this storyline isn't canon because I know that it would not make any sense for Logan Paul to win. But it's still a massive match, big names, as you're saying, for the Saudi crowd. So we need to now all of a sudden suspend disbelief that this storyline between Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul makes sense, and that Logan Paul is actually a danger, which I'm entertained by, but I have to treat it like a filler arc in an anime.
It kind of reminds me of, they're like on a delay. Like, it kind of reminds me of during the territorial days, and I wasn't around during those days, but essentially I listened to and I read a lot of things is where they would do a taping of a show, and when they would travel, they would do the same programming that would kind of be the next follow-up to that taping when they got to a certain show, because everyone was on the delay. So I feel like Saudi is on the delay. Like, that's why they love the old school names, where it's like, we've already moved away from Goldberg like years ago. You know,
well, think about the LA Knight feud with Roman Reigns. The night after, it felt like it never happened. They never took the next step. They never went to part 2, chapter 2. Yeah. And that happens a lot with the Saudi shows. I can promise you right now, Sancho, there is no part 2 to Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes.
Why do you have to do that?
I know I just triggered the glaze factory.
Here it comes. We're open.
Yeah.
We're open. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Glaze, Sancho sits. Page 1. Enter Sancho. LA Knight carried SmackDown in that first segment. You cannot argue, Santi, please. You told me that you least watched SmackDown, and I could fumble my words like LA Knight, but you at least watch when 4 segments that man was on. It was fire. All right. He was not on that week before. He was on SmackDown. Had a segment interviewed. Comes in with Carmelo Hayes. Roast Carmelo Hayes to oblivion. Goes HIM. Yeah, no one's going to say that stupid crap. Talks about him to the spelling bee. Tells him go play somewhere else. Yeah, you're going to listen to me, Santi. That's right. I was carrying your load for so long here for the Wrestling School podcast.
Brother,
No. He has that segment. Goes on to having before that has a stare down with Logan Paul for SummerSlam. No words said. Intensity happened. The match itself with Tama Tonga, we knew he was going to lose, all right? Because the Bloodline was out there. The Weekend Solo Sikoa was out there. Camacho's out there. We understand that he was going to lose, all right? You got the Wild Thornbright, Tama Tonga out there with probably the worst temporary finisher of all time in the moment. The man looks like he's tripping himself. The details, Santi. You can't have your top face get distracted by the Weekend Solo Sikoa, roll right into the ring and get hit with the finisher. It makes no sense. For the love of God, you made Montez Ford get hit with the spike. Just hit LA Knight with the spike, all right? You hit John Cena 15, 16, 18 times with the Solo Sikoa spike. For the love of God, hit your boy LA Knight with it. Protect your man. Has that match. And then has a fire cutscene with Carmelo Hayes afterwards.
I love that you called it a cutscene, by the way.
It is. It was. It really felt like a cutscene, right?
It did.
Just felt like a short, random cutscene of him running.
Wait. So what are we doing here? Do you want me to be like, yeah, you're right, Sancho?
No, I want you to acknowledge that LA Knight is good for business. You don't
Sancho,
do this.
That's the hot girl saying I'm ugly, baiting for compliments.
I already knew.
You know I like LA Knight. You know I like him. Why do you need to hear it every week?
It's a podcast. This is what the people come for, okay?
I think LA Knight was great on SmackDown. Sancho, is that what you wanted to hear? Did you want me to whisper that into your ear and lull you to sleep? Yes, LA Knight was fantastic on SmackDown and the best part of SmackDown.
You said the best part. Oh my God.
You're the hot girl. Be like, oh my God, you think my hair is pretty? Oh my God.
Listen, man. Men need glazing too. All right. Let's not call it that. All right.
That's true.
Listen.
Every man needs a glaze.
Listen. Look, one thing I do want to say though, I like. What make that whole entire thing with LA Knight is just give the man more time. That's all I'm saying.
Glaze is a man's best friend.
I'm not gonna make that T-shirt. I'm not gonna make that T-shirt from you. What's interesting, just to pull back, because now I figured out what I was gonna say. It was so interesting. The feedback that I got was a valid point, right? Where it's like, how can I think they said meat riding? How can a man who meat rides LA Knight? I have to say, it's in the comments section.
It is. You know what? It is internet vernacular.
It is internet vernacular. It's something that I would never say, but here I am. This is what you did to me.
The meat riding. Go on.
The meat. He said, "How can this man meat ride LA Knight
doing tricks on it,
but hates Jay Uso?"
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
It's a valid point. It's a valid point. 4
moves and a catchphrase. Who am I talking about? It could be either of them.
It could be a lot of wrestlers out there, all right? It could be a lot of them. And when people critique the idea of 5 moves and 4 moves, that is the WWE wrestling style.
Yeah, I can't talk. The John Cena guy can't talk.
You can't talk, but that is the WWE wrestling style, all right? I hate to break it to you. Your boy Randy Orton is 5 moves, and that's it. But the boy Randy Orton is a clever guy, and he is really good at transitioning things, all right? Don't look at me like
I mean, you just said Randy Orton has 5 moves.
He does.
I'm not co-signing that one. You're just
vintage Orton, power slam, RKO, the What else he has? He has the table thing. What else?
The DDT, the rope DDT.
I just said that. Vintage Orton.
Oh, that's what you call. Okay, that's what Vintage Orton is. I mean, yeah, those are his signature moves. Sure.
I'm just saying that is not a knock against WWE wrestlers. That is what you want to do. You want to get to the point where you have 5 or 6 moves that you can do at any given night,
sure,
and protect yourself and protect others. But LA Knight is more than just yeah. I want to make that clear to you.
I agree.
He is more than yeah. He uses it as a way, as a callback for sure, and he uses it a lot more organically than Jay Uso does. LA Knight, that Smackdown is a big proof, scientific, Terrence Howard proof. You ever been watching those Terrence Howard, Joe Rogan podcasts? You should. You missed on a lot. No, it's a new cut. That is a Terrence Howard type of fact that LA Knight is more than just, yeah. That, like you said, the best part of Smackdown, that little chunk made me so happy. Even though he lost, I was so happy.
I didn't like the way that he lost. I'm actually kind of with you. It was my initial reaction was like, that's it? Like, we're not gonna, we're not gonna hit him with more, right? LA Knight should be the guy that you have to use everything, including the kitchen sink, to beat, in my opinion.
No, I don't want super LA Knight. Just make him look not like an idiot.
Yeah, but like the fact that he's losing by default stops him from being super LA Knight. I just think that he could have used a bit more oomph, kind of like how you think Ilya Dragunov could have used a bit more oomph for his loss.
One, it makes it worse because it's hard because we don't know Tama Tonga's finish that well. Like we don't know how. There's no level basis of how devastating it is because he didn't have a squash match. He didn't have like a warm up match. He didn't hit it at Backlash. He didn't have no French crowd to give it the French rub. Didn't
love
have
the
any
French
of that.
rub.
We love the French rub. The Zesty Pin brothers love the French rub.
Love the French rub.
Love the French rub.
Our favorite.
I figured out what would be our Zesty Pin.
I don't want to hear it. No.
I thought about this. Come on.
Okay, all right.
I workshopped this pin. It's one of those pins that if we execute it, it's protected, brother. It's like
we're gonna have our own protected Zesty pin.
It's the pin. Like if we hit it, it's over. And then they're gonna come up to us as like, can we kick out? We're like, no, we'd rather lose this. You want to hear modern booking, dude? This is it. This is the most protected thing. Like you're gonna have to hit us with a chair to get us out of the Zesty pin. That's how protected it is. All right. Forgive me. I didn't bring visuals. Okay?
Are we interlocked? Like what are we doing? What are we doing that makes it so difficult to kick out of?
It's protected. Just bear with me. I thought about this because it was so funny. All right. The person that we're pinning. His legs over them like that. Okay?
I'm done.
Dude, we gotta finish this. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to continue this podcast. All right. Well, all right, legit. The one person that's getting pinned, yeah, up and over, legs over them, right? One person shoots across, and it's like planked over them, so your legs are on top of them, facing away, and the other person like that. So it's like
we're scissoring. We're interlocked. No. You literally pulled out 2 scissors for audio listeners. I knew we were somehow going to be scissoring in this. I'm not okay with this.
No, it's like it's not that. We're stacking, dude. We're stacking, okay? We're not intertwining, we're stacking. So it's like imagine 2 people planking and in the middle is a person. It's not like an Eiffel Tower situation. It's like one person is curled over. I'm describing. It's the French rub, okay? One person is curled over, and then the 2 people like that, like planked, and you can't get out of it. It's the Zesty Pin, the Zesty Pin Brothers pin, the French lock, if you will.
No, well, wrestling is cool, folks. Welcome to the podcast. Normally, these shenanigans happen an hour in, and most people don't hear it. But unfortunately, this is like in the middle of the show. People are going to hear this.
We're recording this at 11 p.m. because Santi's vacation, so it's late.
This is like an after-school special of Wrestling is Cool. This is.
I don't even know where to put in the timestamp for this. The Zesty.
I almost don't want you to. I want people to have to find it on their own. Yeah.
It'd be like, I thought this was going to talk about the Saudi show problem. What are you listening to here? Dude, that's a good pin. That's a great pin.
You know what was a problem, though? I was in the West Coast, Los Angeles, the city of angels, watching Raw over there, watching WWE. Brothers.
Problem.
It's so annoying. Look, I've heard the problem from the British people. Oi, it's too late. It's too late, governor. I don't want to stay up till 1 a.m. I don't want to stay up till 2 a.m. I get it. I understand. You just have to stay up a little late. Over on the West Coast, like, dude, I couldn't figure out when it was on because you can't watch it live unless you're watching it illegally somehow, or you have certain services to be able to watch, for example, Smackdown, if you're through the Fox app or something. But basically, because the West Coast is 3 hours behind the East Coast, the show starts still at 8 p.m. West Coast time, but by that point, Raw is already over, so you're avoiding spoilers, and there's no way, I guess, at least that I could find legally, to watch Raw at 5 p.m. like when it was live for everyone else in the world. So weird. I didn't like it.
When I lived in LA for 15 years, and one of the things is interesting is I was doing watch parties when I lived in LA, but this was before you ever came along and took over. This was with me, and it was just me and two guys. It was me and Push Play DJ. I don't know if you ever come across this stuff on Twitch, but I was doing watch parties, and the way I did it was there were certain apps that you could watch the East Coast feed of USA, and it was like Sling, or it was through the USA Network. It was a lot of jumping through hoops, and Friday Night SmackDown was the worst because you had to get that. You had to have a cable service provider to get the Fox app to be able to watch that feed while it was live. And that was just so hard to do. And I don't know, dude, 5 p.m., that's a tough time to watch.
That is,
anyway.
yeah, that is also an annoying time.
Because that's your whole night gone. And at the same time, watching PLEs was tough. And at the same time, you know, when you watch it at 8 o'clock, as a content creator, I can't do the reactions because then people would just come in and say, well, what happened? But I think the hardest part of it all is just that it just feels like you're not a part of the fun. And that's the best part of the wrestling community these days, is live tweeting, reacting, having that, like, being in that moment. And to be honest, though, if you live in Los Angeles, there's lots of things to do in that city. And I loved it during the NFL season, dude. There's nothing like having NFL like at 10 a.m.
That's nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that first game, and then you're done with NFL like at 3, and you're like, oh, I got the rest of my day. And then you can watch you can watch football the whole day in the West Coast and still have your night, like a little bit of your night.
Yeah, that's not the case in the East Coast. I guess that is a silver lining, but not with WWE, man. So to my Los Angeles viewers, West Coast guys, yeah, I feel you.
I wonder if that hurts the WWE. Like, what would you think the majority of WWE fans in this country? East Coast.
They gotta be East Coast and probably Texas. That's probably where the biggest, I guess, heat pockets of wrestling fans would be.
I guess you would have to say where they go do shows. That makes sense.
It would, yeah. And they definitely do not hit the West Coast anywhere near as much as they hit the East Coast. So
they don't. I feel like when I lived in LA, it would be like once a year they would probably roll through, and they would be like either Sacramento or Anaheim. Who wants to go to Anaheim and watch a show? Not me.
What's in Anaheim? Isn't that where like the Mighty Ducks play? Oh yeah, Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You didn't go to Disneyland?
No, I went to Universal instead. Universal was a fun time. Yeah, I went to Nintendo Land.
What'd you think?
I mean, I like Universal just generally more than Disneyland or like Disney parks. Because I like the rides more at Universal, and I think me personally, I like the intellectual properties of Universal a bit more. There was a hilarious Despicable Me ride. I think the Minions are hilarious. I'm one of those weird millennials that loves the Minions.
You got turned into a Minion, right?
I did, yeah. Banana. Yeah, it was great. It was good stuff. I like Universal. It's good. And I'm a millennial, so like by default, Mario, Harry Potter, all that stuff kind of just speaks to me. And it speaks way more to me than like Star Wars ever will. So
That Dementor's ride is pretty cool, huh?
The Dementors. Yeah, man. If I felt like Prison Michael Scott, prison with the Dementors.
Oh, okay. Sidebar here, and I know we're slightly going off track, but this is wrestling school. If WWE had
I know where you're going.
Had the Office, who would be who? Who would be the Michael Scott of the WWE?
It's not where I thought you were going. I thought you were going to talk about a WWE theme park or something like that. Okay.
Amazing. That'd be amazing.
Be so good. Who would be the Michael Scott? Oh, my goodness. Oh, I think.
Are you ready? Ready?
Oh, hit me.
R-Truth.
Funny enough, I was about to say Miz.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like Miz could. Here's the thing. It's the current iteration of the Miz, where he's kind of funny, can be kind of goofy, can get serious when he needs to. We see Michael Scott get serious when he needs to. Can kind of fit that vibe. However, right now, R-Truth, he is the comedy side of Michael Scott to a T, but not he wants to get serious and care about his employees, Michael Scott.
I feel like Grayson Waller would be a good Dwight. He always want to impress. No, Grayson Waller is Andy.
Oh,
That's who Grayson
yes.
Waller is. Yes.
Yeah.
Oi.
Dude, every non-Office fan right now is like, what the hell am I listening to?
What is this? And Otis is Kevin.
Of course. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Dude, can we talk about Otis? This is the segue that I was leaning to. Man, this is a weird type of way to put someone over by abusing them to the point where you want to see the comeuppance of Chad Gable.
Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt. I'm gonna harken it back to that where everybody.
This one feels different though.
It is very different. I'm just saying that the trope of the abused mentee, being abused by a mentor of not dumb mentors, not to be confused.
But Bray's different. Bray was like a cult leader type. This is like your dad or coach hating on you, dude.
It's kind of great.
Calling you a clown and you're a disappointment, you're a failure. And he's like ragging on your friends, ragging on your girl. Dude.
It's vicious.
Chad hit a whole new level. It's vicious.
It is vicious. I'm digging it though, because for the first time in a long time, I'm interested in not just Chad Gable, but the entire Alpha Academy, not just like for individual segments. I really want to see where this storyline goes, where the narrative takes us. And I can't remember the last time I was like that about the Alpha Academy, where I cared about a storyline of some form.
The details would be the theme of today for me. Is the only thing that's missing for me in the Alpha Academy thing is there needs to be a justification why that they're cool with it. No one in their right mind would be cool with someone treating them or their friends this way in a public setting. The humiliation factor. They needed to be where Sammy was like, hey, why are you doing this? You need to stand up to Chad. He is not for you. He's not in your best interest. He's for himself. There needs to be a moment where Otis says, he helped me a lot. He was my mentor. He taught me a lot.
We do need that. I agree.
We need that just a little bit of a. I think Maxine too. Maxine was like, she could be like, I was a valet. I was a nobody. I never wrestled before Chad Gable, but thanks to Chad, I'm here. Tozawa could say, without Chad, I would never find the power of Tozawa.
Yeah, we need to put it a bit bluntly here, we need the explanation for their Stockholm syndrome, because that's what they have right now. We need it. Because right now it's just like you said, it's just people being abused by egotistical, narcissistic piece of crap, which most humans in that scenario would be like, dude, screw you, I'm out of here. But there is lore, there is story as to why these people are in the position that they are. And I do think that it can be really easy, but really impactful if they can just have a quick emotional conversation as to them even reminiscing on the great moments of Master Gable and everything that he's taught them, because it also not only helps us understand their Stockholm syndrome and helps us understand why they're willing to stick through the abuse, but it also can help us visualize this descent into madness of Chad Gable, of what he once was to where he is now, the fallen hero, right? What's the Batman line? You live long enough to you become the villain or whatever.
You live long enough to run a podcast to think that LA Knight's the best.
That's Christopher Nolan's Batman right there. Let me put a glaze on your face.
You want to know how I got this glaze?
I hate this podcast.
Did you say you?
I hate this. Dude, where again?
This is your creation.
No, the glaze is you, my man.
Bro, you called it the glaze. I'm just rolling with you. Just because on Patreon I signed off the glaze machine.
Yeah, for those that aren't on the Patreon, Sancho made a post. He's gonna be making more. He signed it off the glaze master.
The glaze machine.
Sorry, that's worse. The glaze machine.
I was inspired by the Smash machine. I was inspired. Dude, The Rock looks. Did you see that photo of The Rock?
I mean, I haven't seen maybe the photo you're talking about, but I've seen the MMA videos and stuff that he's been doing.
There's a photo of The Rock where he has hair, one, and he has prosthetics, and he does not look like The Rock.
Whoa,
it's crazy.
Okay, I need to look this up, actually.
Yeah, you need to look it up right now. It is.
Is it just on his Instagram?
Just look up Smash Machine first look. Or Smashing Machine or whatever.
All right, carry the show here.
Yeah. So, I, for one, think that this is going to be The Rock's biggest opportunity to win an Oscar. This is going to do world of wonders for his career, especially teaming up with A24. Maybe on the level of Matthew McConaughey and Dallas Buyers Club. It just depends if he could execute it properly. I always said in wrestling these days where he cannot do an emotional promo and he cannot connect with the crowd like a Cody Rhodes. I think recently in the Match Club, there's in my Ruthless Watch Party, Santi, I'm spoiler alert, the next one is going to be Eddie versus Brock. And in that promo hype package, there is Eddie's I'm addicted, man.
Oh, so
I'm addicted, man. And I was like, there's no way The Rock could get close to that. There's how great The Rock is on the mic. And I know you made a YouTube video about mic skills. And I'm wondering if you could maybe do a video about how emotional wrestlers can be. But I don't think anyone could get, I don't think The Rock could get close to that. But maybe in this A24, he could. Did you see the picture?
I did. I had to look it up 5 times because I was like, that's not The Rock. That's not The Rock. That's not. And I'm like, this is the photo that keeps coming up. And then eventually you zoom in. It's like, that's The Rock.
I know.
It's weird. Weird, brother. Weird.
Oh, man.
You know what else is weird, man? It's Uncle
weird?
Howdy stuff. You've been following it? Are you still playing the QRs? You're tapped out? Okay.
They pop up now. And I know I used to race to post it so I could get the views. And I just think like at this point, I need to start seeing wrestlers in it. Like, you know, I need to start attaching myself to it versus like, forgive me, it's late. I'm trying not to say like too much, but when the wrestlers show up, it's going to be that moment like, wow, there they are. And I'm like, oh, they're gone. I want to start attaching myself to them by seeing them now.
It does. I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Did you watch the 1 hour Twitch stream?
I was streaming when it happened, and people were like, "Why you're not watching it?" And I was like, "I'm watching. I'm playing Marvel Rivals now.
We're doing this thing now. This other thing."
And I'm like, I was saying bluntly at the time, I was like, I think they need to pull the trigger on Uncle Howdy because I'm just sitting on my hands. But what would you think about it?
I already think that they missed the best opportunity to pull the trigger on him. It was France, brother. It was 1,000% France. It was France, brother. That was the perfect place to debut him. He didn't even need to attack anyone. It could have just been after the show. Kind of exactly like how Bray Wyatt came back, where he didn't attack anyone that was in the main event. That was Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle at the time. He just appeared, and that's what closed the show. That was the perfect place for the Uncle Howdy in this group to be unveiled, because at least from what I'm hearing, I'm not particularly impressed with the people that are in the group. And I think that's part of the reason why they're in the group, because they're forgotten individuals, people that were tossed aside, people that weren't used to their fullest. Dexter Lumis doesn't get me excited, but if maybe this
he has a beard now.
I'm interested. I am interested. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that this isn't Bray. It's not Bray, and that inherently loses a lot of staying power and or initial excitement for me. And when I hear the people that are involved, when I see names, I'm not excited by the names. Just by the names, because I don't know what their repackaged version is going to look like. And I just don't think that right now anymore, the clues, the puzzles are hitting like they were at the beginning.
What if this was a WWE production movie? Like that's all it was at the end of the day.
Like dude, like the Kane May 19th. Were you around for that?
Yeah, no, I wasn't, but I remember the movie.
Yeah, what was that movie? See No Evil. Was it See No Evil? See No Evil. They did a whole storyline and vignettes about May 19th. May 19th. It was just the release of the movie, brother. There was no payoff to May 19th.
So,
but I'm ready. It has to.
I'm ready.
It has to happen.
I am ready. I am ready. I am like my 2-year-old who's who's waiting for his waffle in the morning. Like he hears that tick, 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 tick. I'm ready for that waffle, Dad. The thing about Uncle Howdy, and I know we're hyped for it. I think you said something that struck a chord in me. It's not Bray. And one thing that we're underselling about Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family is Bray Wyatt could work. Like Bray Wyatt could wrestle. And he was a force in the ring. So once we get to the point where they have to wrestle, what are we talking about? Who is going to be the one that's the workhorse? Who's going to be the one that talks on the mic? What is their purpose? What is their goal? Obviously, they're feeling the necessity of the WWE feeling like they need a supernatural presence, which traditionally there has been. And I also love a supernatural wrestler. I would argue that Orange Cassidy is a supernatural wrestler in AEW, if you really think about it.
He's got cartoon logic. He's got cartoon powers, yeah.
Right, and it's not bad. It's just that's what he does. And so what is going to happen with it? And I think with France, if they easily could have debuted just their appearance at France.
Yes.
And then continue this QR code thing and then make an in-ring attack or like, oh my God, that's the Wyatt Six. Because right now, as a casual fan, unless you could tell that the WWE is ready to pull the trigger because they're talking about it now. They're like on twitch.tv/WWE. This is there. You may have noticed there's a glitch. And that to me is when the fun stopped. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it's when companies get in on memes. It's like, you ruined it.
Like,
yeah.
Man, you know about it. I thought it was just our thing, you know? It's just not fun. And that's where I think Pat McAfee's at his weakness when he has to put over something that is too hokey for him to really sell, right? He's like, yeah, we seen the QR code down there. You know, you're just like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's like, we saw some weird stuff over on the WWE socials there. It's like, okay, all right,
it's like,
Pat.
come on, Pat. But yeah, that's where it's not fun for me.
Does it have to be King of the Ring? It has to.
Well, that's where the hints are. Shout out to Metal Mama, part of my community, but you know, she did some digging, and Bo Dallas's birthday is at King of the Ring. And that was one of the little file names was a Roman numerals of that date, May 25th. So it's like, I know I know there's people out there that are from the Saudi side of the world, but yeah, man, are y'all gonna get hyped for my boy? You know, like this is a pivotal milestone moment in Triple H's era. This is the debut of his first supernatural wrestler that is legacy for Bray Wyatt. You cannot mess this up. Like,
yeah,
you cannot mess this up. It's like when we had Backlash and they went to Hartford, Connecticut, and they almost messed up Jay. They almost messed up Jay Uso. Luckily, the WWE kept with that entrance. And I know it was funny when I was doing my reaction party and Jay had that long shot into his entrance. And I was just like, yeah, sitting there grumpily because I had to stick to my thing about Jay, but you could tell that the WWE is really trying to put that entrance over. They're dimming the lights, they're making everyone pull out the fireflies, and if everybody's on board, it gives Jay that extra boost. But I agree with you, man.
I think it's got to be now. Funny enough, I felt that exact same way about the Bray Wyatt White Rabbit stuff. When we were getting to Extreme Rules, I'm like, dude, it's Extreme Rules or I'm done. Like, this has been too long. Give me something. It's Extreme Rules or I'm done. So it's interesting now that I'm in the same life cycle of all of this viral marketing, and I'm here in the same position that I was with a Bray Wyatt White Rabbit stuff, which is like, hurry it up. Let's go. Move it along. Show me Bray Wyatt. Show me Bo Dallas.
Sancho West wrestling is cool. I have a question for you, Santi. As someone that wasn't introduced to the Deadman Taker first, you first met Deadman Inc. Biker Taker. What was your first thoughts of a supernatural wrestler, and who was that first supernatural wrestler in your wrestling love?
Oh, I think it was still Taker. There was a period in that Ruthless Aggression era where there really were no supernatural characters, because even Kane,
not even the Boogeyman.
Boogeyman was after Deadman came in.
Okay.
Or returned, I guess. But even Kane became a very grounded, real version of himself. They tried to do the whole storyline with Katie Vick, try to go back to his horrible past and whatnot. But at the end of the day, when I looked at Kane, I just saw a big buff guy that had pyro. They walked away. You never
believed he controlled the pyro?
No, I never believed it. And they never did anything to make me believe that he controlled it until because then when he became unmasked, I'm like, okay, this is still not a supernatural character. What I'm seeing now is a psychopath, a crazy dude, still grounded in reality, kind of like a serial killer or something like that. It's still scary, but it's not. It's still scary in real world terms. When it was the Undertaker, when he was buried alive by Kane, then we started seeing like the little like super spooky vignettes for like 2 months leading into WrestleMania 20, with like it would be like lightning coming down, the lights coming off, the Undertaker's hat appearing in front of Kane, Kane's face being just like super flabbergasted. So I got to experience the reintroduction of a supernatural character in the WWE, and it was incredibly successful at WrestleMania 20 with The Undertaker, and his reintroduction, his entrance was amazing. So this is actually now, I think, my third cycle of an introduction of a supernatural character. Because there was the Undertaker WrestleMania 20. There's now what we're seeing here, and then Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt had it twice. In who?
Almost.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. Homo sapiens rise.
So Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, when he enters your lexicon of because what classifies to you as supernatural wrestler? I think it's somebody that controls the lights.
Sure, yeah.
Because that's what it seems to be. But I think it's someone that is not about gold.
Motivations,
motivations, right? Not about gold. It's about breaking someone's will and breaking someone's spirit. But I think the notion that a lot of people misconstrue what a supernatural wrestler is the ability to take finishers. And I think that's where the Fiend got a huge disconnect from me. I think there was this one match where he no-sold everything. I don't remember, like, he would just keep. I think it was against Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins curb stomped him like 10 times.
Yeah, and ended a Hell in a Cell match in a no contest for some reason.
Right. So I think that is where, because Undertaker did lose, and Undertaker could take a finish, but it wasn't that Undertaker had to take like 20 finishers. I think for me, it's funny because your run with Taker was the modern version. My Undertaker was the same guy where he was supernatural is that Paul Bearer will hold the urn and he'll go, "It's my Undertaker, come back." and then like Undertaker would just sit up like Michael Myers, and you're just like, oh, dude, this guy is unbeatable. It wasn't like Bret Hart put him in the sharpshooter, he never tapped out type of thing. It was more of like the WWE superstars were afraid of him to the point where they had to bury Taker alive, where it took all the heels of the locker room to jump Taker and bury him alive. And then when they opened up the casket and Taker wasn't there, then I was like, this dude's supernatural. He has risen, like that type of thing. So that is what's going to be interesting to me, is how do they sell this supernatural faction to us? And the way to do it, you know what would be crazy?
Hit me.
Let's predict who's their first target. Let's just throw this out there. I have one more topic I want to talk about, and then of course we're going to do King of the Ring, and we got to do New Heat Order. Who's their first target? I think the best first target would be an R-Truth.
Oh, I get where you're coming from. Beloved R-Truth. Everyone loves R-Truth. It's really, it'd be the equivalent of them coming in and punting a puppy, right? Everybody's like, oh, you punted the puppy. Now we hate you. It would work. I still think it's Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. I think it's both of them. Not even starting a feud with them. It's just, we're here, Nexus 2011 style or 2010 style, where we're just out to take out everyone and anyone that gets in front of us. Good guy, bad guy, we're ambiguous. We ride the moral thin line in between, where it doesn't matter whether you're R-Truth or you're beautiful and kind like R-Truth, or you're evil like a Ludwig Kaiser. You will face the wrath either way if you get into the path that we're in.
Well, the only thing is they have to be Monday Night Raw. They have to be.
I doubt they're going to be on Monday Night Raw.
They have to be.
Should we do a little bet?
For
the ones you always lose? All right.
What's your bet?
5 gifted, I'll go SmackDown.
All right, 5 gifted, go Raw.
All right.
You can't have the bloodline and that together.
No? Okay.
No, you can't have Solo the Weekend Sikoa deal with that. I truly do believe SmackDown is a better show because it knows exactly what it is, and it does not have too many storylines working for it because it doesn't have that much time to do that. I mean, that's why LA Knight works when they give him the ball, because he could hold down a segment for so long to get to the bloodline, and then bloodline carries it over to the main event. And that's the thing when it comes to Monday Night Raw is when I reviewed it, I was like, this is a good Monday Night Raw. Good. Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. No.
Yeah.
Like that's when things went so south for them. While we're talking about Monday Night Raw and we're getting close to the end of the podcast, again, we're recording this late. We're getting close to the midnight hour. What's close to 1 o'clock Santi's time. Judgment Day. Details. They need to get out of the clubhouse. Put this person in a big locker room. Give Damian a table. Make him feel like he's bigger than life now that he's a champion. Because right now they still look dumb in that clubhouse. It's the merch clubhouse. It doesn't. It was cool when they weren't champions and they were just a ragtag punk type of goth vibe. But now they have gold. They have prestige, and it doesn't feel that way because it feels like their clubhouse is filled with children and Damian comes in to ruin the fun half the time. And then Carlito comes in, the stray cat.
Yes.
You know, it never works out for me. Like I'm losing interest in Judgment Day, not because that Damian's champion. It's just because it's the same presentation that they've had for like 2-3 years, and it just doesn't work now without Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, I look at, for example, something like Solo Sikoa. Imagine if he hadn't have changed anything about himself. It would have been weird. It would have been awkward. But something needed to change with Solo Sikoa as a character and his presentation when the context of his storyline changed. And I do think that the context of Damian Priest and Judgment Day has changed significantly enough where I do think that it warrants some sort of visual representation aside from just the gold, that change and evolution is taking place here. Because we went from, like you said, the goth Team Rocket kind of vibes where we don't have a leader, to now Damian Priest saying, no, you have a leader, it's me. You guys are all dumb. You're all doing stupid things. Get your shit together. That's enough of a change where I do think that we need a visual representation of that change. Whether it's, you know, like you said, a table and people have to come talk to Damian Priest when they're making decisions, you know, like you're in grade school and you need to go up to your teacher who's sitting at her table or whatever, or just anything. I do think that the clubhouse has been outgrown. Maybe not even outgrown. It's just not the right setting for this particular iteration of the Judgment Day.
It's like you're in GTA Online and you have that little house. Now you gotta get the penthouse, man. Just move it up a little bit.
I think it's also kind of like the backdrop of, you know, like you said, the merch house of the Judgment Day sometimes feels like when you're in a serious cutscene in a video game, but you have your creative character looking goofy. You know, like it's just a weird juxtaposition.
I just expecting someone to like buy a T-shirt off the wall. You know, like, hey, let me get one of those. It just doesn't work. And at the same time, I don't know how this is okay, and I could be wrong. But why does Karrion Kross have the same outfit that Judgment Day has? It's just weird to me. And Karrion Kross is doing what Judgment Day was doing with Edge. Have you noticed that?
The Judgment Day was doing
where
what
he's
Edge
like,
explained.
like he's recruiting people. Like Karrion Kross is recruiting New Day because he's like, there's always more time. It's okay, Xavier. It's okay, Kofi.
It'll just lead to some matches on Raw. It'll never lead to anything with Karrion Kross. Come on, you know this. We have enough evidence where it's not going to lead to anything.
He's in the Hall of Glaze.
Really?
Yes, I like Karrion Kross. Unhinged Karrion Kross. Jesse Ventura, Karrion Kross works for me all the time.
I need to see more. I'm not sold on Mr. Damien. Not Damien, sorry. It's 1 a.m. for me. Mr. Kross. What are we doing now? New Heat Order?
We talked about that. I'm trying to think about anything on SmackDown that we didn't cover, because I feel like SmackDown on Wrestling is Cool doesn't get covered as much, because let's talk about Randy Orton real quick. Randy Orton.
That intensity.
The intensity of Randy, the venom spewing from his mouth the entire time.
It was 09 Randy, man. If that's what it felt like.
I think what's working for the WWE, and I say this in reviews, is that they figured out that if a wrestler is gassed out or blown out from their match, they could actually cut a decent promo, a good to great promo, because they can't think. They're literally off the top of the dome, and they're giving some leeway to that. And that's why you've seen a lot of in-ring interviews, and this in-ring interview with Randy works. So that leads me to this next point here in the podcast is, do you think Randy wins? Because this is going to go up on Friday for the people that are for free. Does Randy Orton advance, and does Randy Orton beat Gunther, or is it going to be Tama Tonga? I don't see. It's not a sexy pick, Gunther versus Tama Tonga.
No, not at all. It can't be that. You mentioned that earlier, that Saudi shows are about names. Randy is a name that you need to have on this show. It's gonna be it's Gunther Randy, and it's Gunther winning. King of the Ring does nothing for Randy. Nothing at all.
Dude, but
what's it do for him?
Okay. I'm gonna come at this in a weird way, but stick with me. Randy Orton will pull out that diamond-crusted crown 1,000 times better than Gunther. I know Gunther won't wear it throughout. If he wins, he won't wear it. He won't walk out with it, and he won't have like the robes and stuff. But the second that Gunther puts that on his head, it will look stupid. And it'll make Gunther look stupid, because it's so out of base. When Gunther, I don't know if you saw, when Gunther cut his in the empty arena promo, he looked like a soccer dad. The dude was wearing jeans. When's the last time Gunther wears jeans that are not skinny? Please keep him in all black. I need to look like a European soccer coach. Point I wasn't to make, Gunther, as a heel, he cannot wear that crown because it just looks stupid on him.
He might not wear it. He might just like stand beside it. Kind of, I don't know. It could look. Listen,
he would look stupid.
I get, dude, the aesthetics of it aside. I feel like that's the least important part of the long-term effects of the King of the Ring.
King Orton
that
would
does
be so much
nothing
fun
for him. Look,
it doesn't matter. It would be fun. It would be fun. He could come out, crown tilted a little bit. This beefy Randy Orton strutting with the crown like that.
I hate it.
Come on,
no,
dude.
I hate it. I hate it.
And then he gets the challenge. He gets to challenge someone for his 15-time belt. Come on.
But here's the thing. Randy could wake up and say, I want to challenge for the belt at any moment because he has the ability to do that because he's Randy freaking Orton. He's already the established guy.
So, okay, Gunther.
No, he can't.
If Gunther said, when he came out and said in that promo, I have been champ for 666 days and I want Damian, we would be like, okay.
It would have, sure, it would have been logical. I don't doubt that, but I also don't think that it's the same reverence that Randy Orton has. A King of the Ring victory for Randy does nothing aside from give Sancho his fun little, ooh, King Randy little sideways crown. Gunther actually, it propels him to something meaningful and useful. Yes, it does.
This is the crux of it
you just
all.
want a 5-minute meme of King Randy. You really want this whole month of King and Queen of the Ring just for the payoff of I hear voices in my crown.
With trumpets, dude. You know, look, here's again though, like for real though. Come on, dude. King of the Ring is not what it is. People they have rose tinted glasses. I wish King of the Ring meant something. Xavier tried to bring it back. It's been off the PLE roster for a lot. They're really trying to make us believe that King of the Ring means something. And you know how? Because Gunther wants to be king. Let's be real. King of the Ring, you said it yourself. It's nothing. It means nothing.
It does mean nothing. And you said people have rose tinted glasses. I am not one of those people. I'm one of those people that has been saying for a long time this King of the Ring is such
old school. It's old school.
It doesn't work in today's wrestling. It really doesn't. But in this landscape this year,
no.
the format that they've chosen, the people that are in the tournament has made me not care about who's king and queen of the ring, but it does make me care who wins the tournament. I don't care about the moniker of king and queen of the ring. I just care to see who is the best in this tournament bracket. I don't know what are you doing?
5 gifted, Randy or Gunther?
Oh, dude, Randy. Gunther. Oh, okay. Dude, this is the easiest gifted subs I'm ever gonna get.
Dude, King Randy would feed kingdoms. For ages.
No, it would feed Sancho's little desire to get Randy in his crown.
Wait till you see him in the crowd. All right, who's gonna win Queen of the Ring?
It's Nia. I think it's Nia Jax.
Why didn't she go back to her old song? You remember that song?
I do remember. Yeah, no, it's good.
Remember
I think it's
Nia. Her Tintron was her eyes like that meant something. And then remember for the longest time they did her intro like this. It was her eyes. Remember it was like really up close. You remember?
I do remember. Yes.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I think it's Nia. What do you think?
You know what? I'm not mad because she would strut that around and she would be like the worst heel to deal with. Like she would.
Also,
she would value that crown more than a belt. That'd be her thing.
Baby faces are just not naturally good kings of the ring.
I mean, Xavier wasn't that bad.
I liked Xavier as king of the ring because he was willing to dive into the ridiculousness of it.
Right, the Booker T side of it.
The Booker T side of it, and that's why I worked with King Booker has no business working, but it did because it was so stupid. It was so dumb. But like Queen Lyra, does that work for you? Queen
I don't know
Nia,
her,
that works for me.
I don't know Lyra, bro.
Which is why she probably shouldn't even be in this position as we were talking about in the first place. If the person that's doing a wrestling podcast has very little knowledge of Lyra, what do you think is going to be the general feeling with the Saudi crowd that doesn't pay too much attention to women's wrestling as is.
I don't know.
It's just weird. It was a weird decision to have Lyra here.
That they're doing it there though. More women in wrestling. Like I don't care if the Saudi crowd doesn't pop for them. Just keep doing
push it forward. I'm with you. Push it forward. Make it happen until they like it. Damn it.
Just book Bailey that night too. I don't care. You know, just put Bailey out there against Kyrie. Okay, we're up against it. We're late. It's past midnight my time almost. New heat order. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna let you carry most of this one because I missed Raw live and I've only watched the meaningful things of Raw.
Okay, let me scroll up into the new heat order for those of you who are new to the show. This is and who made it here so far. You're a special breed.
If you made it past that Zesty Brothers sex segment, man.
Wait, what did you say?
The Zesty Brothers segment.
There you go. You gotta hit that segment. You gotta hit that order. Come on, dude. We're not in the attitude era of our podcast. Okay,
I don't even know if that's PG.
I don't even know that's PG, brother. Let's see. I am trying to. Okay, I found it. Good lord, it was, dude. The last time we talked was a week ago on the 14th, but we sent like 1,000 messages because you were gone. All right, here we go. Your new heat order is not necessarily the best wrestlers. It's the people that are doing it for us, the buzz, the heat, the fun that we want to see next week. Rules are you have to be on TV. You cannot be a part of NXT. And you have to, be in a segment at least. You can even appear briefly. We literally had Tozawa, and it was Shayna Baszler walking by him, and Tozawa was in. Granted, that was when we had 20. We lowered it down to 10 to make it a little bit more difficult. Carlito was at 10. Damage Control 9. 8 CM Punk. 7 Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. 6 Gunther. 5 Ilya Dragunov. 4 Jay Uso. 3 AJ Styles. 2 Bloodline 2.0. And 1 Cody Rhodes. And as you can see, this is after Backlash. So, yeah, that sounds about right.
No, it would have been. It would have been well after Backlash.
It's like, I don't know why AJ's still this high though, because he did nothing.
Good question. Good question.
That's after. This is definitely after Backlash. Sometimes the wrestling is cool. New heat order includes a SmackDown, a PLE, and Raw, and then
that's true. Yeah, it might have just been a weird, a weird crossbreed of different things that had happened.
Okay, so I think Bloodline's off this list.
Yeah.
I think the only reason why Bloodline's off this list is they needed to do something with Paul. If they would have did something with Paul before, like let me know that rather than the hug, like make Paul fear for his life a little bit more, maybe. But right now, I think Tongaloa has been a addition. If Jacob Fatu was here, would it be a little bit better? I think either they're off or they slide down.
Yeah, I think I'll defer to you on this one. I'm okay with keeping them on towards the end of the list because Tamatonga won and because Tamatonga moved
I might be
through.
in my LA Knight bias.
It could be that. I do have a tough time seeing, pushing off a King of the Ring SmackDown finalist off.
Fair enough. I'm going to take AJ Styles off then.
I think that's fair. You didn't do anything.
He's emo now.
Yeah.
Ilya Dragunov is off.
Yep.
Okay. That's what happens when you lose to Jay Uso.
You lost to Jay Uso. He got buried.
We got buried. I think CM Punk is off for now.
Okay.
Didn't really do much. And I do think Damage Control is off.
Okay.
And I do think Carlito is off.
All right, so what does that leave us with?
That leaves us with Cody, Bloodline, Jay Uso, Gunther, Jade, and Bianca, and that's it.
We got to add Logan Paul.
Absolutely.
100% we got to add Logan Paul.
Dare I say Logan Paul at 1?
I kind of think Logan Paul at 1.
Okay.
I'm kind of thinking because it wasn't just the amazing contract signing where I think he was the best part of it. There was a segment with LA Knight as well, right?
Yes.
So yes. I'm gonna go with Logan.
I like your style. Now, allow me to dig a little bit further, and may you take my hand for LA Knight, sir.
I like LA Knight here. I do like LA Knight, but I don't think at 2. He still lost.
I said a 3. I see a 3. A hand at 3, sir. LA Knight at 3.
He had the best stuff. It's a shame he lost. He had the best stuff on SmackDown. Yeah, okay, we can toss him at 3.
I'd be willing to move him down, though. I'd be willing to move him down.
No, you know what? No, I think here's what I would think. I would think Logan, Cody, LA Knight, Randy.
Listen, maybe it was the comment blitzkrieg that I took about Jay Uso, but Jay Uso has to be higher than LA Knight. He made it to the semifinals.
Yeah, but was he as entertaining on TV as LA Knight was? LA Knight was so entertaining. This 2 segments with Melo were so good.
You see, you fell into my trap because you said it. Third place, LA Knight.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to think I'm your enemy with LA Knight.
But when you say LA Knight's good, then the people go, yes, I agree. All right, so who is 4th behind LA Knight? Oh, you said Randy.
I would go Randy Jay Uso.
Yes.
I'd go Randy Jay Uso and then maybe Lyra.
That high for Lyra?
Bro, you know, even though like I still think it's super early, it is still crazy that one of the call-ups is going this far and already having a PLE. True. I think that's so buzzworthy.
Someone did say, is it a Creed Brothers situation? And I disagree. I think the Creed Brothers, they got pushed for no reason. And clearly they didn't do anything with that push. And I think what hurt the Creed Brothers was their in-ring work was still a little bit green because there was a Brutus bomb that happened and they
was it on Damien? I think it was Damien that got pissed.
I think that ruined their run.
Yeah, I think I remember the one you're talking about. I think it's on Damien.
Yes. Yeah, and that was the end of the Creed Brothers push. Okay. But may I make a case, sir? As much as I like Lyra, Chad Gable.
Oh man, it's been good. It's been. You know what? I would just do Alpha Academy. Okay. I'm really invested
above Lyra.
Yeah, TV wise, I'm more invested, and I'm including Maxine here as well, Tozawa, just the entire Alpha Academy squad in there. It's so fascinating what's going on there.
You know what? I know you didn't watch Raw closely, but my only issue with Chad versus Sammy was Sammy because they had to let things develop outside the ring, and I said this in the Raw review on Patreon. Sammy was like unnecessarily selling as if he was dead because it took forever for Maxine, and so like. He would take a basic move and just be like on the floor.
Yeah, waiting for everything else to develop.
Yeah. I was like, Sammy, are you dead? All right. So Alpha Academy. So this leaves us with 3 more slots. So who's gonna round out?
Well, that's where Lyra I think we need to have on there.
Yeah, Lyra's right after that. Is Jade Cargill? I think Jade Cargill is off the list.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
I don't think Nia is on this list because it didn't add anything to her.
I'm more inclined for Bianca, honestly.
Right. So would you put Bianca at 8 or 9 or 10?
I would right now shortlist her as one of the final 3. I want to hear what else we have.
Okay.
Gunther, we haven't even talked about him.
We haven't talked about Gunther. A finalist in the King of the Ring.
We gotta have Gunther. He's one of the 3. We just gotta figure out orders here, and we need to find our last third one.
Okay, all right. We'll put Gunther here. Who would be the last one? Who has been? It's funny that Andrade has disappeared. I think he's on vacation because I've seen him post like on his TikTok like he's just.
I know he lost. What about Carmelo Hayes?
HIM. Dude, if you have to think about it, this has been a unique push for him because he's losing, but he's still like Cody, Randy, Baron Corbin, and Randy has been his 3 opponents.
All right, look, I still think we should talk about Melo, but may I present to you Braun Breaker?
Ooh.
What he did
Oh
this
my
week.
God, that changes the entire list, my friend. I want Braun above Jay.
I want him above LA Knight. I just kidding. I just wanted to. I just wanted to hurt your feelings.
No. Actually, dude, I'm realist with LA Knight. Okay.
Braun should be higher. We haven't talked this much about him.
True. And
that's what this whole list is about, right?
And he faced nobody.
He faced.
No disrespect to you, Kale. Your name is Kale.
Dude, if you're watching this, Sancho fully means disrespect. Through and through.
You're gonna take the Zesty pin, brother.
No, you're not. You're not taking the unstoppable Zesty pin.
Unprotected.
The unprotected Zesty pin.
No. Come on, we almost got out of here scot-free. So okay, does he go above? Okay, does he go above or below Randy? He goes below Randy for me.
Yeah, I think below Randy. I don't think we need. I know we're excited on him, but I still feel. I don't want to go too high on him in case this is a one-off excitement.
Above or below Chad then?
I still think he's below Chad.
I'm down above or below Lyra?
Above Lyra.
Okay. It is settled. Now, why are we so low on Gunther this time? May it be that for some reason he decided that he could chop a knee and that would be working a knee?
I'm not low on Gunther. I'm just low on Gunther because this was always his spot to begin with. I always foresaw him being here anyway. So I know he's in the game. You know, I know he got to the final. But this was always Gunther's tournament to lose to begin with.
I agree.
So him being here isn't like, whoa,
Valid.
go Gunther. It's just kind of like,
Valid.
yeah, this was
it's like
status
the
quo.
Nuggets. Right. It's like the Nuggets were supposed to be in the finals.
Sure.
Right. And then they lose to the Timberwolves, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Ants. Dude, I'm excited for that.
So am I, man.
This is a great list. I like. You know what? What's weird to me is I really do believe the new Heat order is like some kind of like in the cosmos list that if people paid attention to it, people would be like, we're on to something here.
This Sancho guy, he's not great, but this Santi guy,
together, the Zesty Pit brothers together. I know how much you hate it. That's why I lean into it.
I despise it.
Wait a minute. Does Dijak make the list?
No, he hasn't been on TV. Did you see that he ratioed the president of the United States?
This is what happens. Put the man on TV quickly.
Yeah, dude, this man has graduated from me to the president. Get him on TV,
please. Who knows where Dijak will be in a couple of days if you don't put that man on TV? Idle hands, my friend. Idle hands on Twitter is a dangerous thing. All right. Well, that wraps up your new Heat order, my friends. There is 10 Bianca Belair, 9 Gunther, 8 Lyra Valkyria, 7 Braun Breaker, 6 Alpha Academy, 5 Jay Uso, 4 Randy Orton, 3 LA Knight, 2 Cody Rhodes, and 1 Logan Paul. My friends of the wrestling school, if you made it this far, I think we should definitely put it as a pin as well. Our I'm not gonna say our dear friend, but we are huge fans of Ivar. Ivar, we early on in the wrestling school podcast when he started cooking as a singles wrestler, we were saying, dude, Ivar, guaranteed banger of a match, low key underrated, very very like a skilled guy. And yeah, you know, we kind of ragged on his Viking gimmick. Let's be honest, we did that. You know, we're gonna own up to that, of course, when push comes to shove. But behind the gimmick is a man that was doing great things with the limited time that he had on the roster and was given a lot of responsibility to put people over. And like I said, very entertaining with his time on. He's currently hurt. Apparently very serious injury. Very serious injury. It looked like he might be out for a long time. So I would like us, as a Wrestling School community, respectfully, if you have Twitter, please send some love to Ivar. Is Ivar_WWE. In this last tweet, he wrote, there's been a lot of misinformation floating around me. Let me clarify. Yes, I'm injured. Yes, it's very serious. No, I will not have to have surgery. Still trying to figure out all my options and what this means for my future. So tweet at Ivar that the Wrestling is Cool podcast sends you some love and to get well soon.
I love that, man. Ivar's so good. I still feel like he was the granddaddy of the Monday Night Raw mid-card kaiju battles that we've been getting on like a regular basis. Dude,
yes.
He's so good. And the stuff he was doing on NXT as well with Midlife Crisis, American Biker instead of Viking. He was doing some good stuff there. So it's a shame that obviously unfortunate circumstances have put this to a halt. But fingers crossed, and yeah, please send Ivar your love. Your Viking love? Is that a thing?
You need to go to bed.
I need to get tired, bro. Just go love Ivar. Folks, thanks so much for listening or watching this episode of Wrestling is Cool. Just another reminder that you could have gotten this episode a few days earlier over on patreon.com/SantiZap. And not only will you get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early, you will get the Wrestling is Cool Match Club, a plethora of extra things that Sancho did this week, including Ruthless Sancho, the series where Sancho is reliving the Ruthless Aggression era through various iconic Ruthless Aggression era matches. We also have a new episode of the Wrestling is Cool gaming show. It was Monday Raw versus
SmackDown 2006 PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah. Go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. Folks, take care. Be wonderful people.
Later.
Bye.
It's protected.